one guy whose team is prominently listed on TexasFootball.com/playoffs. It's the head coach of the 10-0 Fort Worth South Hill Scorpions. It is Coach JJ Resendez. He joins us now. Coach, how are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
How are things in beautiful Fort Worth?
Oh, they're great. Kids are working hard. Coaches are working hard. It's a great time to be playing. Lots of people are putting up the pads, and hopefully we're just getting started.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I want to start is that, this is that's got to be goal one for every team is win your district championship. And I don't think there's anybody out there who's going to claim that, y'all's district is this world beater that, is top to bottom very deep. But at the same time, you guys took care of business, and I imagine that's something that has you particularly fired up heading into the playoffs.
Yes, sir. We can only play the teams they put in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
So, we have no control over the district we go into, but all you can do is handle your business and hopefully let the chips fall where they may. We did play a few non-Fort Worth teams in our pre-district schedule, so we feel that we've kind of upgraded our schedule and tried to take care of our business to be in this position.
And you guys have been doing this remarkably without arguably your best player in Trayson Wallace. I know he went down early in the season. What was your when he goes down? And obviously you guys are a lot more than just one player. But when he goes down, what was your message to your kids?
Well, basically it was here we go again, man. And
Jeez.
We've got we had the offensive newcomer of the year in Trey.
Mm-hmm.
He stepped in. He's a very smart kid. He works hard in the classroom. He makes an adjustment after you tell him one time. He sees things on the field well. So, where it did hurt us was Trey was a defensive and offensive starter. So you really, with Trayson went down, we had to replace 3 starters. So it took 3 different kids to replace one Trayson Wallace. But I think my coaching staff did a great job of putting those boys in a position to be successful. And we were able to win the district title and do some good things.
And the thing that has buoyed you guys to this district championship has been just a relentless defense. This defense is flying around, making plays, and I feel like you've got so many seniors on this defense that lead the way. How important is that senior leadership to what's been an outstanding, one of the DFW area's best defenses?
Well, I think you hit it on the nose, is that the defensive mentality, and it's senior-led. So those defensive kids are some violent young men. They love to go after the football. They love to run the football down. And they've bought into the philosophy that Coach Viola has put in there as the defensive coordinator, that they want to get to the football. And I think the senior leadership that we have been preaching the last few years, they finally bought in and say, okay, let's do this. Let's play defense the right way. Let's get turnovers. Let's put the offense in a good position. And there were countless number of times where defense gets on the field and we get the ball back and we have 40 yards to go, and that makes it a little bit easier on the offense to say, hey, we only have 40, not 80. So that defensive mentality has been huge.
I'm going to admit that when you turned in your questionnaire last year, or for the Dave Campbell's Texas Football, you listed Kamari and Pumphrey as a guy to watch, and I looked at his stats, and they're fine, good. 52 tackles, 22 tackles for loss, good, 4 sacks. This kid has blown up this year. My goodness, 136 tackles, 9 sacks, a couple forced fumbles. This kid, I mean this in the nicest possible way, this kid's a freak.
Yeah, he's a young man that comes with a chip on his shoulder, and the defense goes through him. He has an incredible motor. He's, about 6 foot tall, about 220, but he's a runner. I think at the next level, if he plays college ball, if he decides to pursue that and not an academic scholarship, then what I think he's probably projects to be a linebacker because he runs that well. But yeah, he was All-State last year, honorable mention, and he just plays with a relentless motor that holy cow, he gets after it. We're very proud of that young man.
We're talking with JJ Resendez, the head coach of the Fort Worth South Hills Scorpions here on DCTF Live. Interview brought to you by Advis Rugby Tackling. Get involved in the conversation at hashtag DCTF Live. Coach, when a lot of teams lose their best player, in like you did with Trayson Wallace, you wonder where it's going to come from, the offense. But it seems like you guys have had two guys really step up in his stead. Trey Jones, your junior quarterback, has stepped up and performed very well for you. And then your running back, Kyron Jackson, has run for nearly 1,500 yards, 27 touchdowns. What can you tell us about the 1-2 punch of your quarterback, running back kind of combination?
Well, they've done a phenomenal job. KJ is the type of running back that he's got 10-7 speed in the 100. So if there's a seam and there's a crease and he gets in it, he's the kind of kid that when he squirts out that second level, his speed is deceptive. So your linebacker angles are going to be bad. So if he's fortunate enough to get to the second level, then he's chasing down. It's a mismatch with a linebacker type kid based on a kid, trying to run down a kid that runs a 10-7. So his speed is phenomenal. His vision is phenomenal. And it with, people start to key on KJ, then Trey can also do some things. If they take KJ out, then we feel pretty confident that Trey will be able to get some yards as well. And
of course, we would be remiss if we didn't mention there is another Wallace, the twin brother of Trayson, and he's had a phenomenal. Tylan Wallace has had a remarkable year, 11 receiving touchdowns, one of the more dynamic receivers in the DFW area at the very least. What can you tell us about this kid? I feel like everyone talks a lot about Trayson, but Tylan Wallace has put together a remarkable year.
Yes, sir. Trayson was also All-State last year based on his numbers. I think he had 1,200 yards receiving in 10 games. And so he's a little off pace for that because I think the running game has been so effective. But that hasn't diminished the fact, he starts on both sides of the ball. He starts for us at corner. He also starts for us at wide receiver, and we move him around into the slot and try to get him around the ball where we can get him a few more touches. But the thing that needs to be mentioned about Ty is his incredible work ethic. This young man, so proud of him and the young man he's become. There's nobody that's going to outwork this guy. He works his tail off, and he's another kid that we have. He's got a 3.7 GPA. Oklahoma State, the Cowboys are going to get a very good one in Tylan Wallace, and he holds himself to a high standard where the work is a part of the standard that he comes in every day and says, okay, I'm going to get better today. He's that type of kid. So he's part of that senior leadership and that lead by example type mentality that the kids have really bought into.
7:30 p.m. Friday night at Saginaw's Rough Riders Stadium. You guys go 10-0, romp through your district, everything's fine, and your reward is a 9-1 Richland team. I imagine. Is there any part of you that looks at the way things broke down and you go, man, there's some 2-8 teams that made the playoffs. There's some 3-7 teams, and we have to draw a 9-1 team. Is there any part of you that thought about that when you saw the matchup?
Oh, not at all. We're fired up to be here. Coach Cates does an incredible job over there at Richland. I've known Jed since we were kids. We played high school ball against each other. He went to Richland, I went to Haltom. So we've known each other for a long time, and even when he was the head coach at Heights, we went to battle to each other. So we're very familiar with each other. And what you get is a very rare opportunity in the first round of the playoffs to have a two district champions going at it. That typically doesn't happen in round one. You do get an 8-2 versus a 4-6, and that's not the case here. So we're happy to be in this game, and it's a great challenge we're looking forward to.
It is a big challenge. This has been a great Richland team. I want to ask you, I'm not going to ask you to give away your game plan or anything, but when you look at Richland, what are the keys for you guys to come out Friday night with a win?
Well, all around from top to bottom, they're a good team, and I think the strength of their team is their front play. They have incredible front guys. They play with a motor. They get after it. They do a great job getting up the field. They're well coached. I think is a big part. That they do exactly what they're coached to do. And sometimes you see teams that ad lib and make a few plays, and that's not Richland. They're the best disciplined team we've seen this year by far. Got good athleticism, but I think the strength of their team is those front kids on both offensive line and defensive line. Those kids are some animals. They can play.
He is JJ Resendez. He is the head coach of the 10-0 Fort Worth South Hills Scorpions. 7:30 p.m. If you have the means, by all means, get out to Saginaw's Rough Rider Stadium. It is one of the games of the week in the state. Coach, appreciate your time. I know you're busy preparing for the Rebels on Friday night. Thanks for your time. Good luck on Friday night, and hey, let's plan on seeing each other in the next round.
Hey, if we get there, if we're fortunate enough to get there, it'll be great. We're looking forward to the challenge, though. I appreciate it.